Corey Staples here with WFT News, and I am outside CrossFit League 2.0's grand opening of this beautiful facility right here in Newberry Square. Now, they had a previous gym just across the street, but today we're celebrating the expansion of over 100 members. I spoke to the owner of this gym, Caleb Whitfield, and he said that he is so grateful that he has seen such a growth since when he opened it in January 2015.
The talk of gun control laws has increased as the number of school shootings has become more of an issue within the last few years. The question is whether or not gun control is necessary. Gainesville criminal defense attorney Barbara Plunt Powell sheds light on the justification of an armed public. Ella Zimbick is the driven, fun-loving manager of the Santa Fe College women's basketball team. The only thing different about Ella is that she has Down syndrome. Instead of giving up through the obstacles, Ella continues to fight, making her triumphant not only as a student, but as a positive impact within the community. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to ride a scooter and a couple of safety tips to use during rush hour in Gainesville. Retired but still working in the community, ex-Army veteran Christian McCarter spends most of his time volunteering for Santa Fe College women's basketball team as a tutor.
I know it's just a small thing that I'm doing, but I think that's one of the glories of American educational institutions, that is one of the pathways that we have created.
McCarter works to empower young women, helping them to achieve their goals by assisting them in the classroom.
One of the things that gives me the most satisfaction these days is when I see a former player go on and complete her athletic eligibility and at the same time emerge with a bachelor's degree.
Santa Fe College head women's basketball coach Chanda Stebbins says since McCarter has been involved with her program, he has enhanced the academics.
He's had an amazing impact. When I took the program over, we didn't have any academic All-Americans. Certainly the first 4 or 5 years, he didn't work with us, but I have a very, personally, I have a very strong emphasis on academics.
His love for helping others runs as deep as his love for his right to vote. Chris McCarter looks forward to the midterm elections. He says voting should be an obligation for all Americans to fulfill.
That should be a civic virtue, a civic value, a civic duty.
McCarter says America has made great strides, having lived through many pivotal moments in history for African American voters.
To see the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and to then live through, for example, the election of Barack Obama in 2008, that to me has been an amazing transformation.
Because of the history he has witnessed with discrimination of minorities in America, McCarter looks to support leaders whose values support inclusivity.
We should cherish all these kinds of people and their individual talents and interests. And we should do the things in terms of providing opportunity to them and protecting their rights.
McCarter has a quote hung on his door by Henry David Thoreau, which he lives by and inspires him to be so adamant about the individuality of all.
Statement of Thoreau that as much as anything has guided me emphasizes the individual following his or her own drummer.
His core principles are what carries him to stay active in the community and vote. Reporting from Gainesville, Corey Staples, WUFT News. Erosion, potholes, cracks galore. These are just some of the things you'll experience during your ride on Northwest 83rd Street. Northwest 83rd Street is a major road that runs in front of Santa Fe College, a school which over 20,000 students attend. But this road has become dangerous for not only vehicles, but also the students' safety, as the road is in terrible condition for students to have to drive on. Gainesville Public Works Public Information Officer Chip Skinner says that complaints for road work can come from numerous places.
We get complaints from a number of different sources, including an app called 311 GMV of potholes that are forming.
But these complaints are most of the time ignored or not addressed, depending on the age of the road.
We are also looking at the age of our roadways. Typically they last between 10 and 12 years. And we are now doing what is called a rehabilitation pavement program with our Public Works Department.
UF student Camille Okonkwo makes a daily commute on Northwest 83rd Street and says since the 2 years she has lived in the crossings, the road has still gone unfixed.
So I actually have to commute to UF classes every day on that road, and it's pretty awful. Like, the potholes are bad, and it's been like that since I moved into the crossing.
Jordy Roberts with the Florida Department of Transportation identified Northwest 83rd Street as a county road, thus not regulated for the state to maintain.
It is. I mean, it's not a DOT road. I mean, I can double check with my Gainesville folks just to make sure. Because typically the only roads we really maintain are state roads.
After looking into the Alachua County Public Works system, it is evident that this road is not flagged to be under construction. County representatives were unable to address the situation with Northwest 83rd Street, but whether it is reported or not, this road is a danger to the students of Santa Fe College and the residents of those who have to commute on it. Corey Staples, WUFT News. Succeeding on the field, but failing in the classroom. The disparity between black and white athletes in Alachua County is staggering. Alachua County Public Schools are working to tackle the achievement gap by talking equity and race from all students. Valerie Freeman is taking on her role as the School District Director of Education Equity and Community Outreach to decrease this gap.
You look at all of the districts, both in and out of the state of Florida, equity, disparities between race with academic achievement, that is not as large as our gap is.
According to state records, 28% of African American students in the Alachua County area are proficient in reading and math, numbers that are ranked below the state average by 10% points. Specifically, the overlap of black student athletes performing poorly in the classroom correlates with common behavioral issues seen in athletes.
You know, all teachers will tell you that behavior overlaps with academics. Academic overlaps with behavior. So whenever you see anything that's an initiative, you can rest assured that that initiative is going to somewhere have an overlap impact of that student doing well and reaching their full capability or success.
Gainesville High School head football coach Pat Miller says these behaviors reflect the parents.
One part that we're not talking about, it comes home to the parents also. And, you know, like I said, that they got to take part in this and not just put it on the school or the coaches.
But Miller is working to combat these disparities by providing programs which educate his African American athletes about the importance of academics.
So what we did, we had a seminar, and I had representatives from University of Florida and also Florida A&M to come down and talk about clearinghouse, NCAA qualification, core classes.
He has implemented these programs to ensure the success of some of his struggling African American athletes.
I do have some young Afro-American students that are struggling, and so, you know, the teachers here do a great job of helping tutor, and, you know, we try to make sure that everybody here is treated equal.
But Miller's concern has not gone unnoticed. Freeman is confident that the county's equity plan will encompass all students and is hopeful that the results will impact students of all races, despite the disparity.
It's an equity plan for all. And even though we have a large gap with our students of color, we still have 29,000 students in this school district that we are obligated to give the best education possible.
People like Freeman and Miller continue to address and work to combat the disparity between black and white student athletes in the county.